Hey, welcome back to another episode on our new series, Pro Tips to Live a Dynamic Lifestyle. If you're new to this show, you definitely want to stay for this because we're dropping them every single day and we're giving you guys tips from literally experts and legit pro tips on how to live a dynamic lifestyle, especially in this pandemic and new circumstances and landscape that we're facing. So if you're interested, make sure to subscribe below. Other than that, get ready for this next one.
All right, guys, welcome back to another pro tip series on how to live a dynamic lifestyle through this pandemic. We have the man, Todd Durkin here. Todd, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, fellas. How are you?
We're doing well. Even better talking to you now. I know it's been a while, but we've always kept in touch somehow, and I always see the amazing things you've done. Just total respect and just even gratitude just going back to the beginning days with your mastermind and all that stuff. So I'm really pumped about this. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Any way I can serve, let me know. I'm looking forward to today's interview and episode.
Absolutely. All right, so let's kick it off. So first and foremost, I want to just see like how you're doing, how your family's doing, and then more importantly, do you have like any like just suggestions, tips for the listeners that are going through like these times where they need some help, some hope, and then how can they reinvent themselves?
Well, a couple things. I'll start with everything here in San Diego is best to be expected. For Groundhog's Day, every day is the same day. But I think there's a few things that are important. Number one is to have a structure in your day right now. So I think structure is essential because right now, if you don't have structure, just these days are very long. They're the same days over and over again. And you kind of lose this sense of reality and you kind of get this fog over you. So I've been really trying to create this structure between the, what time I'm going to sleep, what time I'm getting up and trying to really focus on that. And then making sure during the day, I call it output versus input. I'm doing my quote output work earlier in the day, like between 9 and noon. And then my input when I'm getting on emails and doing interviews and calls are typically later on in the afternoon. So I'm doing my best work when I'm putting out, all my podcasts and writing, and I've got a book coming out and just all of that type of work. And so I would really encourage anyone that's trying to maximize productivity as best they can under some really crazy times and precarious situations right now is to create a structure in your day. And as far as when you say, as far as what would you recommend, I think right now the most important thing, honestly, I talk about get your mind right. It's like now is a time you got to battle deeper than ever before to win the battle between the ears. Well, how do you do that? It sounds rhetorical. Number one, right now, movement is not optional. It's mandatory. And when I say movement, it doesn't have to be these groundbreaking, record-setting workouts. It's like getting out and moving every day, possibly multiple times a day, to get some vitamin D, to get some nature, to smell some fresh air, and to get the blood flowing, because motion's lotion and movement's medicine. So you got to move, and you got to get your mind right by what's coming into your mind. Like, making sure you don't watch too much news, listening to great podcasts and messages like this, Eric and Chris, and literally guarding what goes into your brain is absolutely imperative right now.
Absolutely.
Love it.
I love that, man. And that's even for me. Like if I'm having like a downtime, like I sit there and just go for like a 15, 20 minute walk, get out in nature and clear my mind. So like for you, Todd, is there any of those days or times where it's just like, just the best gets to you, you know what I mean? Just the frustration or just from like the quarantine or the pandemic, and how do you kind of deal with that?
To answer your question, yes. I'm like everybody else. I've got 35 employees furloughed right now. I applied for the PPP and have not received anything yet. So, the state of Fitness Quest 10, my gym here in San Diego, we are closed down. So we've had to pivot. To go back to your question, we've had to pivot. We have a virtual gym with, several hundred members right now training online. And the way we've structured that is at 6 a.m. we have prayer, chapel service available for anyone of all denominations and faith. If you want to be involved, you can. That's at 6 in the morning. We have live sessions right now at 12 and 12:30 in the afternoon, and then depending on the day, interspersed either a morning live and an afternoon live. And we've got church service on Sunday. We become totally the sanctuary, what I call the sanctuary Fitness Quest 10, has become a gym without walls. And it is literally, we have training sessions, we have cooking classes, We have meditation, breath work. We have prayer. So the pivot has been an all-in, like it's taken a lot of time and a lot of energy. So for the last 6 weeks, a lot of energy has gone into creating this this virtual gym. So I would say, as far as that's concerned, when you really structure that, like where are you at with your businesses and lives, it's important right now. How do you serve people? How do you serve people? And I think that's something that I know our clients and members, they're used to our community. How do you best serve them? And for us, it's constant touch points, text messages, videos,
Yep.
Whatever we can do to serve them, to help them get through this very, very precarious time. And I know we're going to get through it. We will get through this. If you're a coach and you're a trainer, you're listening in, it's all about right now just focusing on how can I be the best servant to my clients and customers, and how can I help them physically and mentally get through this tough time.
Yeah. Whew.
100%. And then would you say too, with this pivot now with like the virtual gym, is this going to be something that's here to stay? Like maybe when things kind of go back to normal and they open up the gyms?
Yeah. So we've created this 3-pronged approach. There's 3 phases. Right now we're in phase 1. We're a few weeks away at best of actually opening up Fitness Quest 10, right? So I'm in San Diego, California, depending on what state one is in. Is phase 1 is right now things that we are doing to prepare for when the gym is going to open up. It will, but it might be another 4 to 8 weeks potentially. So there's a lot of steps that we can take right now, including the virtual gym that we're doing, because yes, in phase 2, when we open doors, the gym Fitness Quest 10 will not be exactly what Fitness Quest 10 was when we closed on March 16th.
Mm-hmm.
It'll eventually get back to closer to normal, but there will be some aspects to it, including how we're laying out classes and sessions, and the 12 different hand sanitizer stations we're adding, and we're painting right now to make it clean, putting air purifiers in. Like there's like 24 things that we're doing right now that are really going to help our members and clients restore trust that it is safe to train in our place. In that phase 2, we will keep the virtual gym for all of our members and clients. And phase 3, the deepest of phase, when we get closer back, this is where, when this virtual gym that we are creating right now is going to be an ancillary revenue stream for people who are not part of our community.
Absolutely.
That want to attend live classes or on demand, I'll call them on demand sessions. So there will be opportunities. Yes. Right now, the focus is certainly in serving our people, but there will be some opportunities for us to have new people from outside San Diego join us also.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that you guys are keeping that hybrid approach, because I really feel like even like some of the small gyms, like that's their opportunity right now to capitalize right now, because everything's like an even playing field right now. The big box gyms are out there with lots of money to spend on advertising, but right now, like the cards have been kind of reshuffled, and, everybody has like the same, cards they're dealt right now to be able to rise to the occasion.
Yeah. Here's what I would encourage anyone to think about. Now, this is hard to do, especially in the midst of the battle, right? We are in a battle. But if you were to just close your eyes and envision 6 months from now, maybe 12 months, and you were to look back and say, man, how is this COVID-19 situation one of the best things that ever happened for my life and business? What happened during that allowed you to make a change that maybe you've been wanting to make for years, but you've been scared to make? Now you have to make it. What is it that you are most grateful for 6 months from now because you did this? And maybe it has nothing to do with business. Maybe it was something with your physical health you wanted to change. Maybe it was you wanted to immerse in personal growth. Maybe it's you needed to trim down your team, or you wanted to acquire some studios that were struggling that are now going to be out of business. 30% of studios are probably going to not come back after this because of the situation. My encouragement would be, if you could really put yourself 6 months, 12 months down and think back and reflect on gratitude. I'm so grateful and happy now that, what was it that you've created during these, April, May, June times when it's tough, but you're pivoting, that allows you to have some legs to run with versus just reacting to now. Hopefully what you're creating now and pivoting to has legs that will sustain you into the future for years to come. Because I was talking to my team the other day on the Zoom, and I shared this. Right now, team, we have a blank canvas. We have a blank canvas. And the Fitness Quest 10, despite being, one of the top 10 gyms in America for so many years, listen, we have a blank canvas to create whatever we want to create. We're going to get back to training. We're going to do our Pilates, and we'll have chiro and PT, and we'll have classes. But there's a whole bigger opportunity here that we've never been forced to take that exists.
Yep.
And those that capitalize on it are going to be positioned well once we get through this time.
Yeah, no, I love.
Are you a fitness professional looking to create more income, impact, influence, and independence? If so, we actually just dropped our new book, Rise of the Fit Pros, so you guys can be on your way to doing all those things, and you can sit there and build your hyper training model. So if you're interested in getting your copy, make sure to click the book or the link right here, and you guys can grab it. Other than that, make sure to enjoy the rest of the show.
I love that. It's so powerful. And that's something too that kind of brings me to yesterday. I did a story on Instagram talking about this, that you have a choice. It's like ask yourself the question, who do I want to become out of this pandemic and this whole, situation? Do I want to play the victim role? Do I want to get better in all aspects of life? Or again, do I just want to be complacent and just wait for things to pass and just, that's it. So I love that. I love what you said.
And here's what I would share is, and this is great, but you have to win right now to win that battle. Like, who do you want to become? That comes down to the choices you make right now. Because I used to have to say, like, win the day, win the day, win the day. Man, I can't even think about the day sometimes. I just got to win the next decision. Yeah. Like, what am I going to, when I'm done with this call, what am I going to focus on? Am I going to focus on getting on my Instagram and scrolling social media? Cool. Or am I going to write that blog post, or am I going to create my podcast episode that's going to change someone's life? Or am I going to work on turning it off and like literally reading a good book that's going to allow my mind to escape? I've determined that right now, unlike any other time I've ever seen, you've got to win the now. Yeah. You've got to win right now, and don't worry. When I say don't worry, like don't literally worry and have stress and fear about tomorrow and 6 months from now. Yes, you can have the vision of, I know that in 6 months from now, I'm going to look back and be grateful. But the only way you can look back and be grateful is being so present in the now. Now, that's hard to do. How do you do that? Like, oh, that sounds great, Todd. How do you do it? You literally have to spend more time. And now go with me here. You got to spend more time in meditation. You got to spend more time, being in the here and now with breath work, in prayer. Like, when I say that, you've got to be present and be where your feet are at. You've got to be where your feet are at in every conversation with your wife or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your kids. Like, that's hard to do right now because our minds are everywhere. Mm-hmm. Be right here, right now. As you listen in, be here. And when you're done with listening to this, whoever you speak with or whatever project you're working on, maniacally focus on being right there and doing your most prolific work with whatever you're writing, with everybody you're reading, whatever email you're creating, whatever it is. Be prolific right then.
Man, whew. Mic drop, Todd.
I would say, man, throw some water on that mic, man. You're on fire.
Yeah, I love it, man. I totally agree with all that. So kind of wrapping this up, I've been asking all of our guests this question, and it's just more about just me kind of getting every perspective out there. So what do you think the big message is from the universe for society, for humanity that is going on with this pandemic?
Well, my views are probably different than many other people's views, but life sometimes has reset buttons, and the big man up top is hitting a reset button and allowing the opportunity for people to reconnect with their faith, and to slow everyone down. Yeah. Because the speed at which many of us are operating is fast. It's fast. And in doing so, sometimes we lose our most important relationships in life. We lose the most important priorities in life. And for me, I'm trying to prioritize my quiet time, my time in faith, to really pray as a man of faith, to ask God, like, how can I best serve right now? How can I go deeper in my purpose? And I'm a man of impact, but like for me, the question I ask myself every day right now, and I'm doing my journaling, is what can I do today to create maximum impact whoever I talk with, or whoever I work with, or do a podcast with? Like, what is that? Because right now, as life resets the speed in which we are operating, and it's very, very weird, right? It's a weird time because things are at a different speed that we're not comfortable with, is like getting comfortable right now in quiet, in peace, in serenity. And that's hard to do. So I call it tapping into your whispers. If you can tap into your whispers right now, which takes a lot of discipline to actually quiet the mind and listen, if you can tap into those whispers, there's profound wisdom. There's profound wisdom, but you have to quiet the outside world down, right? Quiet down the noise, focus on the signal. What's the signal saying? And for me, it's a reset. It's a reset, and that whichever direction that you're being whispered to go to pivot to create, to change, call it whatever you want. To me, those who tap into that and actually have the audacity and the courage to make those changes are going to provide, ultimately, they're going to be happier. And that's what we're going to be. They're going to find peace. They're going to be happier. And it's going to be under a more divine purpose.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's almost just kind of just like, take this time to focus on the inner world, your heart, your soul, your mind, and not focus so much on the outer world, because once you master the inner world, that's what just the outer world becomes very easy. So I totally agree, Todd. And thank you so much, man, for the wisdom, just your perspective on that. That was awesome. So what could we support you with? And more importantly, where can, just like the listeners connect with you?
No, thank you, Eric and Chris. I'm proud of you guys, first off, and congratulations on your book and all the great things that you're putting out into the universe. I know the world needs more positive. I call it the positive pandemic. We need more positivity and the Mind Right Maniac. So if anyone wants more, feel free. I've got a podcast. It's called the Todd Durkin Impact Show. My new book, it's called Get Your Mind Right. It's coming out in June
Awesome.
2nd. Get Your Mind Right. Someone recently asked, is it a good time for a book to be coming out? I said, no, it's not a great time for a book to be coming out unless it's called Get Your Mind Right. So I'm excited. If anyone wants to connect, I'm on Instagram at Todd Durkin, and you can find me on most social media platforms.
Right on.
Awesome, guys. So we'll have that all linked up in the show notes. And Todd, just before we sign off, I just want to commend you. And, you're probably our first mentor in your mastermind. And this was like literally close to a decade ago, man. And I'll never forget that feeling. We were lost on an island, didn't know what direction to go. And we joined your program and had so much direction and guidance with you and Larry. So forever grateful, man. And if it wasn't for your guys' guidance in that time, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So kudos to you. And just thank you so much for the impact you created on us.
Likewise, forever grateful.
Thank you. Eric, Chris, you guys are awesome. We're proud of you. I'm proud of you. And again, just keep up doing the great work. The world needs more positivity. And I know the two of you together is better than just one. So, man, keep it on up. Awesome stuff.
Right on. All right, Todd, good talking to you. And until next time, guys.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video and another episode on pro tips on living a dynamic lifestyle. We truly appreciate it. Hopefully you got a lot of value out of it. If you're interested in getting more value like this from these pro tips, make sure to subscribe above. We're going to be dropping these daily. Also, if you are a fitness professional and you're looking to create more income, impact, influence, and independence, we just dropped our new book, Rise of the Fit Pros, so you guys can do all of that. You can also start building your hybrid training model with in-person and online training. So make sure to click the link or the book right here to grab your guys' copy, and we'll send it over to you. Other than that, we're out. Talk to you soon.